Hey everyone, it's Joe Gamble back again. I think it's safe to say that everyone associated with Fryette amplification has been operating at about 110% capacity this past summer. Hopefully as we ease into fall, we'll be able to be a little bit more consistent with this type of content. And this time around, we're going to take another look at the Deliverance Series II Plus. If you didn't see the last clip that I made, I built a track where I was playing one guitar into the amplifier setup just one way for the entire clip. And all of the tonal variation that I got was just by adjusting the volume knob and the pickup selector switch. So hopefully you check that out. This clip's gonna be a little bit different, maybe a little bit more traditional. I'm gonna play several different guitars into the amp and set the amp up differently for each tone. And I'll show you on the front panel somewhere on the screen here, wherever it fits, how I have set the amp up so you can see what I'm doing. With the emphasis maybe being a little bit more on the clean side of the Deliverance, because I'm not sure that historically people have looked to that amp as like this really great clean platform, but I'm gonna do my best to convince you otherwise. So now a few quick words about how the amp works and how I'm utilizing it in the track. I covered a lot of the functionality of the amp in the Deliverance Series II Plus Part 2 video that I'll link to either on the screen or in the description below. But real quickly here, the basic idea is that we have two gain controls. And it's really helpful to view them as having different roles in shaping the overall tonal experience of the amp. And the way that they're labeled on the front panel really kind of tells that story shorthand. Okay, so the gain 1 voice and control definitely does increase gain, but more importantly, it really does move you from what Fryette is labeling as crisp, and you could think of that as spanky or whatever, all the way through to getting some really thick sounds with just that one control by turning it to the right. And it does this without sending the amp into over-the-top distortion land. So you'll see as I'm going through the track that if I'm playing with that control through the clip, yeah, I'm dialing in the amp, but I'm also using it to deal with whatever the guitar that I was using at the moment was giving me at that time, okay? Now the gain 2 control, which is labeled as overdrive, is exactly that. This is where the distortion and prime preamp compression stuff happens. And this control is engaged by flipping the switch up to the more position. And playing with the ratios between these two controls not only helps you determine how much distortion you're introducing, but it also with how the transients are being communicated through the amp. So just as an example of something I might do is if I have gain 2 engaged and I'm using, say, a super jangly telly, and I want some hair on it, but I don't want to get into like crazy distortion land. Just back off on gain 2, turn up gain 1, mess with that a little bit, and I can wind up with something really nice without having to introduce too much preamp compression, where that might not be the case if I was playing with an amp that just kind of had one gain control. And then I'm really just trying to find the balance between, where's the master go and where's this distortion at? So anyway, there's that. Now because we have a power station to wrangle the volume of big amps like this, I can also use the master volume to add some additional coloring into the mix, okay? And the preamp on the Deliverance is, like I've just described, there's so much control that you have there that I don't really need to use the power section so much to kind of brown out the sound and round things off like I would with maybe an old Marshall or something. But instead, I can push the power section of the Deliverance to really kind of display this amp's ability to, really project this huge, wide, bold, full and sparkly kind of headroom magic, that your favorite old clean platforms of antiquity could do. Because the Deliverance does that so well, even though it's not, typically known for that kind of thing. Now, just in case you were wondering, in this video I'm not employing the foot switch because I don't need to use this solo function here. I'd only need to do that if I were in a live playing situation or even doing a live in studio kind of demonstration deal. So instead, this clip is just a big overdub fest where I wanted to compare and contrast some tones, and so I would just reset and set the amp up differently for each different track. So if you're wondering, I'm playing the D120 and not the D60, and that is plugged into the Deliverance 212 cab loaded with Fane F70Gs. It's mic'd up with an SM57, going straight into my Apollo Twin interface and then directly into Logic. If you hear any delay or clean stuff, as usual, that's just with the Stymon ditch pedal. That's just how I do it around here. And I think that's about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and play the clip, and hopefully you dig it, and we'll see you in the next one.